Following their 5-0 defeat in South Africa, the once mighty West Indies were about to be consigned to the dustbin of history. The vultures were hovering over the entrails, and the selectors publicly criticised Brian Lara for his attitude and appointed him captain for only the first 2 tests. For undisputed world champions Australia, this was to be a gentle stroll in the park for new skipper Steve Waugh against an ageing and discredited team. The first test at Trinidad merely confirmed all these views. Matthew Elliott regained his place as opener for the retired Mark Taylor, as Australia won the toss and chose to bat first. Left-arm quickie Pedro Collins was one of 3 West Indies debutants, along with Dave Joseph and Saruj Raghunath, in the enforced absence of Hooper and Chanderpaul. Scoring runs was never easy on the Port of Spain pitch, and Ambrose and Walsh were in miserly mood. Merv Dillon made up the traditional pace quartet, with Collins, who took his first test wicket, when Slater tried to keep the score ticking. Matthew Elliott was doggedly defiant, but Langer and the 2 Wars all fell cheaply.
Walters 100th wicket against Australia. Beautifully bowled. Appeal for a catch of the wicket. Steve Waugh will go.
However, Greg Blewett was also adhesive, and with Elliott he raised the 100 before the left-hander padded up to Collins for 44, compiled in nearly 5 hours.
Blewett is a lovely drive with the ball on the offside. Consecutive overs, consecutive boundaries for Blewett.
Blewett soldiered on manfully, aided by Healy and then by Warne after the keeper was trapped LBW by the ageless Courtney Walsh, his 400th test victim.
Test wicket and joins Captain and Sir Richard Hadley in that elevated company. Courtney Walsh, 400 test wickets.
But when Blewett finally perished to Ambrose for 58, and then Stuart MacGill went the very next ball, Australia were in some trouble at 203 for 9. Kirtley must have been licking his lips at the prospect of a hat-trick as he saw Glenn McGrath coming to the crease, but not even the Aussie fast bowler's best friend would have predicted the first miracle of this remarkable series. 172 test runs in 54 innings at an average of 4.5 doesn't exactly inspire confidence, but partner Jason Gillespie at least seemed to have faith.
And all the way, Collins can't get around in time. He's a left-hander, of course. It was going away from him. So that's the highest partnership of the innings now, as McGrath goes on to 24, tying his top score in Test cricket. More frustration here for the West Indies, not only on the field but off it as well.
Finally, McGrath went for a career-best 39, and the last wicket partnership had added a precious 66 runs, much to the annoyance of the West Indies.
Outside edge again, Steve Waugh does well.
Raghunath's first test innings ended in fast, then McGrath trapped Sherwin Campbell LBW. However, Dave Joseph and captain Brian Lara steadied the ship and gave the home team cause for hope.
Beautifully played by Lara.
He goes again, and that's a better shot. That is a much better shot. That is a 6.
But Joseph fell immediately he'd reached his 50. Not long after came the turning point of the innings. Justin Langer's quick thinking caught Lara out of his ground, but TV replays suggested the wicket may have been broken without the ball.
But that was very, very good work. Ball bounced out of his hands initially, but he had the presence of mind to keep his eyes on the ball, gathered it and sent it back toward the stumps.
Still, Lara was on his way for 62, and at 149 for 4, the West Indies were certainly not out of it. But 12 overs later, they undoubtedly were, as McGrath and McGill proved unstoppable. 7 wickets fell for just 18 runs, with Dillon the last to go early on the 3rd morning. Australia had an invaluable first innings lead of 102. Not for the first time since his recall, their effort to drive home their advantage was spearheaded by Michael Slater, whose breathtaking assault made a mockery of the tricky pitch. Just as at Sydney 2 months earlier, Slater seemed to be playing on a different plane to his teammates, and although his 106 out of 261 fell short of the 66.8% he'd achieved against England, it was an innings of equal significance.
Just behind square leg, and that gives cause for the Australian flag to fly at square leg. Got a bit more in for that, but he still pulls it away, and Michael Slater brings up his 12th Test 100 with consecutive boundaries, and 4 second innings hundreds in the last 6 test matches.
Although Walsh's perseverance gained some reward with 4 for 67, the West Indies had a mountain to climb, needing 364 to win.
And that's what happens. So first ball in the first innings, second ball in the second innings, and another wicket for Courtney Walsh.
They never got to first base, as Australia demolished them in less than 20 overs, with Gillespie and McGrath bowling unchanged.
On the first slip, first ball with a replacement delivery, and the second wicket, a good delivery from Glenn McGrath.
Mark Waugh snaffled 3 catches at second slip, including Lara's second ball, and the Aussie pair exploited the unpredictable bounce to the full.
Big shot. The West Indies 16 for 5. Here it is, and the man has taken 3 catches at second slip, and that is close, and that is out.
To make things worse, the West Indies' total of 51 was the worst ever in their Test history. The humiliation was total. The end was in sight.
All over the place. Collins just ahead. West Indies' lowest total ever in Test cricket. Jason Gillespie knocks back the middle stump. Pedro Collins not waiting around at all. And the West Indies go 1 down in the series. A humbling defeat, an emphatic victory for Australia. 312 runs is the margin. It's the 6th successive defeat for the West Indies following their 5-0 loss in South Africa. Where do they go from